Then, something black, slick, and towering emerged. And in that moment, they realized they were not beside land, but on the body of a living giant. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Sketch Stories by UC. So, in today's video, as you've already seen in the thumbnail, I'm going to tell you the story of the Kraken, one of the most famous sea myths from Norway. Get yourself ready, enjoy the story, and let's begin. In a small fishing village on the coast of Norway lived a young fisherman named Leif. He was only in his 20s, strong, full of energy, and known as a hard worker. Since childhood, he had grown up in a simple fisherman's family. Every morning, Leif went out with his father, pulling nets in the shallow waters near the shore. But unlike other fishermen who were satisfied with small fish, Leif always felt drawn to the deeper sea, as if there was a calling from the depths.
The fish here are too small,
he complained to his wife, Astrid.
If I dared to go farther out, I could return with a ship full of catch.
Leif, it's not that I don't believe in you, but everyone knows, in the deep sea, there is something that must never be disturbed. Your father has warned you many times.
In the Northern Sea, there is something bigger than any ship. The ocean covers most of the Earth, and we only know its surface. Never cross beyond the Northern Cape. Many ships have tried, but never returned.
That's just an old tale to scare children. I know how to handle a ship.
One evening, Leif sat at the pier with his 3 friends, Jorn, Einar, and Torvald. Jorn sighed deeply,
Yesterday my catch was so little, not even enough to buy bread.
Einar nodded gloomily.
Same here. It feels like the fish near the shore are fewer, don't you think?
The night fell silent, broken only by the sound of waves, until Torvald spoke up.
Then why don't we sail farther out to the deep sea? I've heard that with just one cast, the nets could be full.
Are you crazy? Haven't you heard the old stories? The ships that went too far vanished without a trace.
Torvald chuckled.
Old tales. I don't believe in such superstitions. The deep sea isn't a curse, it's fortune waiting to be taken.
Leif, who had been quiet, finally spoke with a firm tone.
Torvald is right. If we keep playing safe, we'll always return with empty nets. But if we dare to go farther, maybe our lives could change.
Leif, even your father never dared to pass beyond the Northern Cape. If someone like him was afraid, isn't that already a sign?
Leif gazed at the dark sea stretching into the distance. The waves that night looked calmer than usual, too calm.
I'm not afraid. If there really is something out there, I want to see it with my own eyes.
The 3 of them exchanged glances. Doubt, fear, but also ambition burned in their eyes. And in the end, they agreed they would try. The next night, under the pale moonlight at the pier, they prepared the ship. Ropes were tightened, sails folded, torches lit, and Astrid stood there, her eyes glistening with tears. Leif, promise me you'll return before night.
I promise,
Leif said. He jumped onto the ship, and together with his friends, they sailed toward the Northern Sea into the waters the villagers called the Forbidden Sea. They sailed for hours until the faint lights of the village vanished into darkness. The waves were unusually calm, as if the sea itself was asleep. Yet, that very calmness made Leif uneasy.
This is strange. The sea tonight is too quiet. Usually we'd hear seagulls or fish jumping.
Torvald chuckled, trying to ease the tension.
Oh come on, don't be so scared. This is a sign we're headed to the right place. Just wait, our nets will be full.
The wind blew colder, the fog grew thicker. Then suddenly, something appeared on the horizon. A small island, as if it had just risen from the sea.
We're lucky. Around islands, there are usually lots of fish. Let's stop here.
They lowered their nets, and indeed fish came in great numbers. The ship was filled with cheers and laughter. But their joy didn't last long. Jorn suddenly froze.
Leaf, look closely. That island, it's moving.
At first, they thought it was only the waves. But slowly, the island kept moving closer to their ship. The waters around it began to swirl, forming a massive whirlpool. From the depths below, huge bubbles rose to the surface. A strange, thunderous sound echoed from beneath, like the breath of an ancient creature waking from a long slumber. The sea trembled. Then, something black, slick, and towering emerged. And in that moment, they realized they were not beside land, but on the body of a living giant. They came to know it as Kraken? What kind of creature was it? Let's dive into the explanation. The Kraken is one of the most legendary sea monsters from Scandinavian folklore, especially among fishermen of Norway and the islands around Greenland. Its stories have been told for centuries, eventually entering written records. One of the most famous works describing the Kraken is The Natural History of Norway, 1752 to 1753, by Erik Pontoppidan. There, the Kraken is described as a gigantic sea creature often mistaken for a small island. Since it looked like land, many fishermen tried to rest on it, only to realize it was the body of a monster, capable of lifting ships with its massive tentacles. Ancient texts like Konungsskuggsja, King's Mirror, from the 13th century, and Icelandic sagas also mention a sea monster called Hafgufa, whose description is very similar to the Kraken. In legend, the Kraken is almost always described as resembling a giant squid or octopus with long, powerful tentacles. It could suddenly rise from the depths, wrap around ships, and drag them below the waves. If it didn't attack directly, it had another way, diving back into the sea, creating a massive whirlpool, easily sinking any nearby ship. Some myths even say that when the Kraken surfaced, it attracted large swarms of fish. To fishermen, this seemed like a blessing. But in truth, it was a deadly trap, because any ship that got too close would fall victim to the beast. As science advanced, many researchers believe the Kraken legends might have come from sightings of real giant squids, especially from the genus Architeuthis. These squids truly exist, living in the deep sea, reaching lengths of over 10 meters. Many traits of the Kraken, its huge tentacles, massive body, and mysterious appearances, likely came from encounters with these creatures. Still, of course, Architeuthis is nowhere near the size of an island, nor strong enough to completely wrap a ship. But the fact that giant squids are so rarely seen makes them a perfect route for terrifying legends like the Kraken. The sea is both a source of life and a source of danger. That's why, in legend, the Kraken is often seen as a symbol of mankind's fear of the unknown deep. But does the Kraken really exist? To this day, there is no scientific evidence of a Kraken, at least, not the mythical version. The island-sized monster capable of destroying ships. However, sightings of giant squid and reports from fishermen who sometimes saw massive tentacles rising from the sea strongly suggest that the legend was exaggerated from reality. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, that's it for today's storytelling video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment with your thoughts, ideas, or suggestions. Share this video with your friends who love dark mythology, legends, or other fascinating tales. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you won't miss the next story. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.